it's either Zoom or Be Live. Something's gonna break, and I'm just like waiting for
try
it one day.
StreamYard.
Is another tool I got to get used to. StreamYard.
Yeah, Heather, the podcast girl, she shared that with me, and it's so much easier to use than all the other ones, even easier than Zoom. It's like really easy.
I like that.
And you can connect to different Facebook groups and all stuff pre-connected. You just hit a button and it pops up in that group.
That's pretty smart.
And you can put branding on it and different things. It's cool.
Does it also stream to like YouTube and all the other like platforms and all that fun stuff?
Not all at one time, or at least not on the free version. But I connected like my Facebook page, my personal page, my group page, my whatever. So when I go on, I just click on the one I want this video to go to, and it goes to that one instant.
God, that's so good. That's so much.
And I'm sure if I pay more, it might let me send all of them.
And it's only a matter of time. Like everything's becoming so competitive. We're live, by the way, just in case. But everything is like super competitive now. Like if they don't catch up, everybody just moves to the next thing.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't remember how exactly we got in touch. I know it was through Steph Signs, right? Did you come to the office first, or did I go to Orlando first?
When we met?
Yeah, like the first time we met. I think you came to the office, right?
No, the first time we met was at Dan Henry's AdCon. I had lunch with you and Aubrey. There's like 20 of us, McKinsey, all of us. We were having lunch together at the American Social. And then we went back to and we were standing in line to get our 25K Club awards right next to each other. And that's when you actually start talking about your car wash and the things you're doing. Now we connected better. We became more friends on the fact, I think, when I came down to visit Stephanie, we came to your office or another event and whatnot.
Very cool. And I'll tell you what, when I went up to Orlando and it was your event, and there must have been like 8 bands, 24 venues, 4 city blocks, and there was like 5,000 people wrapped around like 6 different cities or city blocks trying to get in and pay you money. That blew my effing mind. I thought that was so effing cool. And that was 2019 New Year's, right?
Yes, but I have to correct you on a few stats.
Yeah.
We had 0 bands. We had 4 DJs.
Yeah.
On 4 stages. We did have the 4 city blocks, so you got that one right. And there was not 5,000 people there. There was 10,000 people there.
10th? Oh my God.
So you're a little off on that number, but yeah, we had 10,000 people there.
That is so absolutely nuts. And I think that was so cool, by the way. Like we were driving around, and you're like, guys, I think we're doing like 200,000 in ticket sales today. I think it's going to happen. Like 120, 150, 160, 170. It was so.
And when we woke up that morning, we were at 80,000.
Yep.
And I predicted we were going to hit 200. And you guys were like, you're not going to go from 80 to 200 in the next 7 hours. And I'm like, we're going to hit 200. And I knew it. And even the guy that I partner with that owns the restaurant that I partner with that we put us on together, he was like, Ross, there's no way we're going to break 200. Because our goal was 200 the whole time. And he was like, yeah, there's no way we're going to break 200, is there? I go, no, we're totally hitting 200. And he's like, how can you be so confident? I'm like, it's a trend. It's the same curve every year. And if we're at 80 this morning, we're at 200 at the end of the day. We ended at 204 at the end of the day.
That's nuts. That's so effing cool. Look, before I go into that though, and like how you sold $200,000 worth of tickets in 24 hours, can we go way back in the day? Because I didn't know this, but you used to be like a traveling salesman or something like that. Can you talk about like what your life was before you started doing Facebook ads and agency and events and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I prefer the word outside salesman.
That sounds better. Yeah. Outside salesperson. Yeah.
I'm not a Kirby vacuum cleaner guy traveling around the country. But I actually was an outside sales rep for a distributor who sold hair products to hair salons. So I would wake up every morning and I'd hop in my car and I'd visit anywhere from 10 to 20 salons in a day, all within the Orlando market. So I covered 2 counties, Orange and Seminole County. I'd visit 10 to 20 hair salons a day, and I would convince them to carry my products. And then I'd teach them how to use them, teach them how to merchandise them. I'd educate them on how to sell them. And I'd teach them tricks and tips on how to like upsell themselves so that they could do more color and more highlights. And whatever my product was, I would teach them how to sell more of that service to their clients. So yeah, I did that for 17 years actually.
Wow.
And I visited I mean, and here's what's crazy. We did this. My company had no website. I literally this was me. This was my sales tool right here. And Stephanie laughs at me because I still write everything down instead of putting it on the computer sometimes. But yeah, so basically I traveled around, visited 10 to 20 salons a day. I built this territory up. When they hired me, it was doing $14,000 a month in sales is what it was. The territory was doing.
The Orlando area.
The Orlando market. And what's crazy is they had 2 reps that were actually in Orlando. So they were basically doing 7,000 each a month in sales, right?
Yeah.
They were recruiting me, and they said basically the only way to get me on board, they had to let both of those reps go and hire me to fill both positions. But they really felt like I could do a better job. And so I went out there, and in about less than 18 months, I grew that from what's 14 times 12? What are you looking at? 200 grand a year, something like that. 14 times
168.
12. So it was doing 168 grand a year when they hired me. In less than 18 months, I grew that to over $1 million a year. So I literally took, and this is face-to-face sales, no internet, no website. Yeah. I literally was driving salon to salon to salon all day long selling these products. From there, I grew it from $1 million to my biggest year. I think we did $4 million in sales face-to-face in Orlando without the internet.
That's great. Like normal business, like the way your grandparents thought business was supposed to be done.
Right.
You did $4 million in sales in 12 months. Is that correct?
It took time to get in one city. I mean, yeah. You're talking like a 15-mile radius.
Wait, so how many salons is that?
Oh, I probably had 500 clients.
That's insane. Okay, I get angry with one client, right? How are you dealing with 500 clients each that are buying stuff, asking questions? What about this? What about that? And then have their own clients. Like how do you be sane while having 500 people buying from you?
So basically I did what's called, you have to run your route and not let the route run you. Mm-hmm. And most reps or salespeople, even internet marketers, make the mistake of, they basically drop everything at the beck and call of the client. The client wants this, the client wants to place an order. They throw everything aside and they go do it. They might drive 30 minutes out of their way or take a 30-minute phone call when they really should be focusing on their schedule and their task, right? So what I did was I built a 2-week route and I divided Orlando into 8 segments. So Monday was my office day. And then I had 4 segments on that week. The next week was office day and then 4 segments. On the bye weeks, I would line up those segments to be next to each other. So that way, if I had a call and had to get to that other segment, there was at least 1 day a week, I was close enough I could scoot over there and see them without messing up my route. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So now what I'm doing is inside those routes, I would visit anywhere from 10 to 20 salons a day on a bi-weekly basis. So I was able to see that's 20, 40, 60, 80, 160 salons in a 2-week period, right? And then repeat every 2 weeks. Now I had clients that some bought once a month, some bought once every 2 weeks, some bought every week, some were on like a bi-monthly schedule if depending on what phase of the buying process they were in. If they were a brand new client, I'd see them every week. If they were a steady client, I'd see them every other week. If they were just that occasional, kind of purchasing a little bit here and there, I'd see them once a month or once every 6 weeks. But on that 2-week route, I was able to efficiently hit minimum 160 salons ongoing. And inside those salons, there's mini accounts because some of the hairdressers had their own businesses with, like, you might walk in a salon, there might be 10 or 15 hairdressers that each are their own business. Sometimes it's just they're all employees, sometimes they're independent operators, so it just depends. But that allowed me to visit 160 people twice a month, 160 different brick and mortar businesses twice a month, basically.
That's crazy.
So yeah, and here's the kicker. When a client called me and said, I need to place an order, can you see me today? Most reps would be like, yeah, I can see you. Let me get that sale. And they drop what they're doing. They drive halfway across town, go see that client. I would tell the client, I'd be happy to help you. I'm not in your area today. I can help you over the phone, or I'll be in your area on Tuesday. Which would be better for you?
Yeah.
And that way my route doesn't get screwed up. I'm not getting off schedule. I'm not having to play catch up later. 9 times out of 10, they'd go, oh, you can do that over the phone? I'm like, yeah. So their brain doesn't even think that I can take an order or a sales call over the phone. They think you have to be in person. As soon as they know that, now I'm training them to do that, right? The other thing I would do, which is interesting, I would actually turn my phone off at 6 p.m. every night, and I'd turn it off on Saturdays and Sundays. A lot of the reps wouldn't. They're like, oh no, I'm going to service my clients. I said, no, you're going to train your clients. You're training them. It's okay to call you at 10 p.m. at night because you answer your phone. You're training them. That's okay. My clients know if they call me after 6 p.m., they're going to leave me a voice message, and I'm going to call them back at 9 a.m. And they're happy with that. And it kept my schedule on schedule and my route on route. And I did what they said. I ran the route. I didn't let the route run me.
That's absolutely fantastic. I really like what you mentioned about like training your clients. And that's not like in a derogatory way. It's just like setting like what is acceptable use. Like if you're responding 24/7, which was the mistake I made, like I was responding to all my clients by text message immediately. I thought that was right. Actually, it hurts you more. And it hurts them more because they think that you do stuff immediately all the time.
Right.
And that's not true. Like if you do everything on like a Tuesday, you need to start setting people up so that you respond not on Monday morning, but on Tuesday morning. That's their day. That's when they're getting service. That's where they're getting taken care of.
Yep.
I thought that's absolutely fantastic.
My clients knew they were going to see me every other Tuesday between 10 and 2. My route was so efficient that literally every other Tuesday between 10 and 2, they knew Ross was going to show up, and I did.
And because you had that follow through, they felt comfortable waiting and saying, oh, at least he's going to take care of me tomorrow or that coming Tuesday or something like that, right?
They knew.
They
and I would also teach them, hey, you need to buy enough so that you're good for the next till I come back in 2 weeks.
I like that a lot. Oh, I like that. Yeah. That's really cool. So
that's really how we built the, and I said I was literally, I mean, I don't know of anyone that did. I was winning awards, trips, vacations left and right. I got the National Salesman of the Year for North America for one of the brands that we sold. But to give you a perspective of what $4 million a year in that business is, because it's different. In real estate, that's like 8 homes, right? To do $4 million a year in shampoo at an average of $6 to $10 a unit, that put me on the map as probably the #1 shampoo salesman in the world.
That's crazy.
The top of the top do $1 million.
Yeah.
Like if you're the best of the best, you're doing $1 million a year in shampoo sales. You're making about $100,000. Yeah. So to do $4 million is 4 times more than to do the people that are in number 2 and 3 positions.
That is so effing cool. I had no idea, by the way. Like, I had no idea that you could sell $4 million worth of shampoo. That's such a big number. That's so cool.
But that's in Orlando only. As internet marketers, we think globally or nationally, right? That was literally in a 15-mile radius.
That's so cool. Well, I'll tell you what. Now that we've gone over that, which I think is like such a cool bullet point, we probably should have changed that. How he sold $4 million worth of shampoo, but whatever, right? I think one of the reasons that like you perked up on my radar and stood out so much is that you transitioned from that and you were getting paid to socialize or something like that. Like you'd bring friends to bars and the bartender would be like, yeah, why don't we just give you free stuff? And then you turn that into like an actual event. But I think we're going to talk about that later. I think what's really cool about your story is that you started doing Facebook ads to sell tickets to in-person events, right? Like real life, like, hey, buy my stuff on Eventbrite, come by and you're going to have a whole experience. So Can you talk about how you transitioned from outside salesperson selling $4 million worth of stuff to selling event-based tickets? Is there like a transition phase and all that?
It honestly, they overlapped for probably 6-7 years. The event was literally a side hobby for a hustle. So I had switched companies at one point in there, and I took a $12,000 a year pay cut when I switched companies. And I said to myself after 1 month, I was like, damn, I either have to stop going out on the weekends or find a way to make an extra $1,000 a month. So
Yeah.
it kind of just, my goal was like, I just wanted to pay for my bar tabs is basically how it started.
Just trying to
So
get beer money, guys. Like, I just want beer money.
I just needed beer money. So coincidentally, I didn't know what I was going to do to create that $1,000 a month, but I had a birthday coming up, and I planned a brunch crawl. So I went and talked to these 4 different places that were all hot spots for brunch. And I negotiated with them that everyone on my birthday would get a free drink at each bar. And I made little drink ticket coupons, and I had lanyards for everybody made. I had my roommate Nicole at the time. She was my door girl, so she checked everybody in and gave them all lanyards. I didn't charge admission for my birthday party,
Right.
but I just put this together, and we had about 30 people come, I think. And what's crazy, so at the end of it, the owner in one of the sports bars that we went to was brand new. They had no one even knew who they were yet. They were brand new. I just knew them because they were down the street from me. But they were going to be a hot spot. And the owner pulled me aside and he said, Ross, I've been in the bar business for 20 years. That was the most organized event I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Everybody was cute and they all spent money. How do we do this again?
That's awesome. That's exactly what you want to hear.
So that was like, bing, my $1,000 a month, right? I'm like, okay, that's basically how it happened. And so we decided at that moment, I was going to do Saturday tailgate parties because it was about to be football season, I think, when it came around. So I was like, okay, let's do this. How about I do Saturdays? I come in and we promote Saturday to watch football. And I actually created a logo and a brand name. It's called it O-Town Happy Hour for Orlando. I had cornhole boards and slicked them and branded them. I've got beer pong tables and put slicks on those with my logos and website domain and everything on those, and came out at 11 a.m. on Saturday mornings, set everything up. And I literally just I invited all my friends, and I went around the bar and I invited people, hey, come play cornhole, or you guys want to play cornhole? Those 2 people want to play cornhole. And I'd match them up with people. Hey, that girl over there wants to play beer pong. Do you like beer pong? She wants to play beer pong. And I literally would just get people off their butts and get them interacting with each other and meeting new people. And the bar was paying me $150 a Saturday, plus a $50 bar tab to come hang out, play beer. And so I'm sitting there drinking and eating for free while getting $150. So it wasn't, at that time, it wasn't about an income. It was more just about supporting my weekend fun, right? And here's what happened. Here's what's crazy and why I fell in love with the event business. People came up to me and they said, we found this on Facebook. I had just moved here from Michigan. I didn't have one friend. Now I have 50. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, they were thanking me for literally building their entire friend circle locally here in Orlando. And I was like, oh my God, that's huge. That's bigger than any amount of money or business or whatever, is being able to create a community of people where you can lean on people and have friends and have people to hang out with was huge. And these people ended up coming to this bar at 11 a.m. They'd eat their brunch with a bucket of beer. They'd watch a football game. They'd have lunch. They'd watch a football game. They'd have dinner. And they'd literally be there, I'm not shitting you, from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. at one location. It was the funniest place in Orlando. It put this restaurant on the map. And then that flowed over to their Sundays were huge, the same, just as big as their Saturdays, and they just became the hottest place in town. It was amazing. So that's actually where it started, and it just kind of grew from there. I started doing events, and if
I'm understanding correctly, you tell me if I'm wrong here. You had a birthday coming up. You called the bar. You're like, hey, I'm gonna invite like 30 of my friends. You mind giving them all a free drink, and they're probably gonna spend some money with you? And the guy was like, sure. You get your roommate to be the door person or the door girl and give people lanyards if they are with your birthday.
Yes.
It was so successful, according to the owner. He was like, oh my God, everybody was awesome. Nobody started a fight. They all spent money. Let's make this a thing. And you end up putting yourself in a position where you're getting paid to eat, to drink, and to socialize every Saturday.
Correct.
This is like the dream scenario. We're like, what are you going to do? I don't know. Probably get paid, get drunk, eat a lot of food, and hang out with a bunch of people for no reason at all whatsoever for like the entire Saturday. Like,
yeah,
that's absolutely fantastic. And you got feedback too, which is like, I'm from Michigan. I don't know anybody. I saw your thing on Facebook. Now I've got a whole bunch of friends.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So like, is that how you started running ads to your events, or like how did running ads tie into this?
I'm gonna level up on the made friends from Michigan. We actually had, I think, 3 people from those college tailgate parties get married. They met their future wives at those tailgate parties.
I'll tell you what, as a side note, ladies and gents, you see MP on Ross's shirt. That's Modern Profits Cruise. Yeah. A whole bunch of digital marketers are all hanging out with Ross. I think like we'll talk about at the end of the interview, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be some marriages because of that too, because you're stuck with people for like 5 days straight, which is really, really cool.
I actually just married someone at my last event. They asked me to marry them.
You were the officiator?
Yes.
At someone's...
they got married on my booze cruise and asked me to be the officiant. So I became an ordained minister and I married them on my booze cruise.
From shampoo salesperson to ordained minister.
Yep.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
So right, I sidetracked you from your question though. What was your question?
How did like ads start coming into your money challenge? Right?
When I started doing this, there was no Facebook ads. So I literally was manually like inviting people to the event. And back then you can invite like
everybody.
People were like, "Will you stop inviting me to your event?" And I'm like, "No." Keep inviting you. So everything was kind of manual back then. So I was doing it really the old fashioned way before the ads came out. When the ads came out, I was you could still do both the manually and the ads. And eventually Facebook was like, knew where the money was at. So they restricted what you could do manually and kind of forced you to play ads. But over that time frame, I started, tweaking the ads, playing with them, studying them, implementing them, and over a few years and then when my events turned from a Saturday tailgate party to a thousands of people at New Year's Eve party or pub crawl or cruise ship, whatever that is, that's when I really started cranking into the ads. And it was about 3 years ago when I really like dove in to like leveraging that. And that's when the New Year's Eve party grew from a regular New Year's Eve party to, I think we went from like 3,000 to 5,000 to 10,000 over the last 3 years.
That's such a big number, like 10,000 people. That's so effing cool.
Yeah, the orchestration and production of that is massive, but you were at the event. It's incredible.
It's so awesome. So what were some of how did your ads look and feel? Was it simply like, hey, we're going to this event, did you want to come? Did you like what was the thought process behind ads that were getting people to actually go to the events?
So the copy actually is easy in this realm, right? It's, hey, we're having a party, 3 free drinks, 8 to 10, join us. Like, I mean, it's not, the copy is not crazy. We still do the call out, hey, Orlando, do you like blah, blah, blah? Join us and get 2 free drinks. So the copy is the easy part. The structure is, the timing is important. The scaling of your ad spend is important, and the targeting and retargeting. So those are really the 4 key things that come into play, and the setting it up, right? Which probably should have been a bullet point as well.
I think so.
The setting up the events, because it's, I actually use a lander page, which most people just send their people direct to Eventbrite. I put the Eventbrite ticket inside my landing page because I feel like I can give a better user experience, description, better images than you can on an Eventbrite page. Plus, I can pixel and target better on my own lander than on Eventbrite's. Eventbrite does allow you to use pixels, but it's not as efficient as if it's on your own website. Plus, Eventbrite's pixeling them too, so they're retargeting other events as well.
Yep.
So I use my own lander page. You set up the Eventbrite page. I set up the Facebook event page. I broadcast it on other events, which I don't know if I get ticket sales out of that, but I think I get SEO out of that, so I like it. But that's, when you look at all, and the graphic design. So the first thing I do is create the graphic design like poster. And then once I have that solid where I like it, I recreate it in all your social media banner sizes, Facebook ad size, Instagram size. And then I take that and I go build my pages, the landing page, Facebook page, Eventbrite page, connect all those things together. I also have a website, American Happy Hour, that I put it on that as well. And I usually write a blog about my event, which helps to drive traffic as well. So when you build that whole system out, that's how I start with my event, first of all. And a lot of times I think people forget about that, and it's super important to have that kind of laid out. And then I invite people manually that I think would like to attend the event.
Mhm.
So your friends that don't invite people that don't ever go out or that aren't interested in that topic. Only invite people that are interested in that type of event. Facebook now limits you to 500, and if you do that too many times in a row, they'll limit you to 50. Put you on lower restrictions.
Interesting. So you can't just mass manually invite people to events anymore. And if you do it, Facebook will limit you.
Yeah. So basically, they allow you to invite 500 people.
Yeah.
But if you're clicking too fast, they'll put you on restriction.
I've seen that. Yeah.
If you have an event every week or 2 of them a week, and every week you're inviting 500 people, they'll put you on restriction. And then you're like, shit, I can only invite 50 people to my party next month. And you got to call your friends and have them invite people for you. So you got to kind of just invite slowly, or there's some different tricks too that you can do to invite people that have been to previous events that you attended or similar events. But yeah, so you got to watch that, because it really sucks to get put on restriction and only be allowed to invite 50 people when you're trying to get 10,000. But once all that's set up, then that's when I start running the ads. So on the ads, I don't know if you wanted to get into the strategy there yet, or.
Yeah, let's go for it. See what happens. Yeah.
Okay. So, so I think we were talking about how I come up with the 5 audience that I use to retarget, make myself look bigger and badder than I am, and get infinite referrals coming in. Was that the bullet point?
That was the bullet point, because I remember you and I were chatting about like what to talk about in the bullet points. And there was like at the end of the event, like you were talking to like the owner to line up the next event. And then like just through like being like Chatty Cathy Social Ross, you were lining up 4 or 5 more jobs down the line, which is really, really cool. But we didn't want to talk about that because that's not something like easy replicatable for people on this, right? We want to talk about like cold audiences and retargeting strategies. And more importantly is when an event seems really, really big, people show up, right? Even if it's like tiny, thousands of people will show up because they think it's awesome, right? And Brett Watts uses that strategy. James Cluster uses that strategy. They both do events. Stephen Aquino uses that strategy. If your event seems massive, more people will show up. And so that when you mentioned that to me, I was like, we have to talk about that. So yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. So, and I'll put a couple spins on that too after I tell you the audiences. So the whole idea with events, you got to understand that 80% of the people buy in the last 24 to 48 hours, which really sucks for the person marketing the event and planning the event and the stress factor that goes on it. In last year, because of my New Year's Eve event got so big 2 years ago, a guy from Lake Mary had drove over and was talking to the restaurant owner that I was working with. And he's like, how the hell are you doing these events? He's like, I do the events. I've never even charged for a ticket. I don't know how to charge for a ticket. What are you doing? I literally walked in the restaurant at that moment and he goes, Vince, Ross, Vince, boom, done. Now I literally last year did 2 New Year's Eve parties. I don't even know if you knew that.
No, why would I know that? I had no idea.
Well, the second one was 45 minutes away. I didn't even attend it. I had 5,000 people at the second one.
Oh my God.
So, but he came up to me and finally pulled the trigger like 2 days before Christmas and said, let's do that New Year's Eve party. So I told him, I said, and he goes, well, it's going to cost me X amount of money. I go, yeah, but you're going to make it. And he goes, well, what happens if like we're 2 days before the party and nobody's bought a ticket? And I looked him dead in the eye and I said, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yep.
I said, you're going to call me next week stressing out because you don't have any ticket sales. You're going to call me the week. I only had 2.5 weeks. You're going to call me like 5 days after that saying, oh my God, we've sold a few, but I'm stressing. We're not going to make any money. And then you're going to be patting me on the back and high-fiving me and buying me shots by the end of it because you're going to do a ton. So literally I had 2 weeks to set this up and sell it. And the last 3 days we did close to 100 grand in sales on that one. So
who are you? Like,
oh, he was ecstatic. They'd never sold a ticket to anything they've ever done before. They just monetized their free business. Like it was badass. They loved it. But the whole point there is the scaling, right? So no one is buying your event ticket when they see your ad. So when you're running a cold ad, your goal isn't to sell them a ticket. Your goal is to move them into your audience. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
I do on my cold ads, I have 5 audiences that I run ads to, and the whole goal is to move them into my retargeting audience.
Mhm.
And then you just blast your retargeting audience. So the point of what you said is these people don't realize that you're retargeting them. They just think that you're everywhere. And they think that, oh my God, every time I pick up my phone, I see your event, I see your ad, I see this, I see that, I see your video, I see your photos, I see. I mean, I've had friends be like, I can't fucking play Candy Crush without seeing your ad. Like, what are you doing?
Yes.
I've had people screenshot their Pandora radio station and my ads are on there. They're like, you're everywhere. And that's the whole point, is the retargeting. So here's the 5 audiences on my cold targeting. I target, you're looking to grow your website click visits, right? So you want people to click on your ad, hit your website. I build that into a retargeting audience. So I'm building a website visit audience. So whatever your cold market is, your goal isn't to sell them a ticket. Your goal is to get them to go to your website so you pixel them. That's your goal. Pixel them. So you got your website audience. Video views. This one's huge. Make a video for your event. I don't care if you just take old photos from an old event and do a photo montage video, but you got to have a video. If you can do like a 1-minute promo video, or just if it's an entrepreneur event, you just can do your little 1 minute of you sitting behind your desk like this. But you definitely need a video. It needs to be short, 1 minute. And then you're going to retarget video views. So the whole point of this ad isn't to sell them a ticket. It's to get them to watch. You definitely don't want to do the minimum. You want to set it at like minimum 10 seconds, but maybe 30 seconds, and get all those people into your video view audience. The third thing is your engagement. Anyone that comments or clicks on an ad, you move them into your engaged audience. So because they're somewhat interested. Then I have the event response ad, and this one's huge. I always run an ad to get people to RSVP to my Facebook event. It's not the cheapest clicks, but it gets on their calendar, and it's always on their Facebook calendar to remind them, and it organically spreads to their friends. It says, Jeff is attending such and such event. So you're going to pick up people for free as well. So even though it's a little bit more expensive to get an event response than it is to get a click, I like it because it gets them on your calendar. It also says social proof. Oh, he's got 1,000 people RSVP to this event. We need to check it out type deal. So those are the 4 things there. And the 5th audience, and this is the kicker, is a cold retargeting audience. So it's cold for this event, but it's warm for everything I've done in the past.
Okay. Yep.
So my 5th cold audience for this event is retargeting everyone that's ever done anything with me before, whether they're on my event email list, if they've visited past websites, if they've watched past videos, if they've RSVP'd to past events. I make that an audience in itself and retarget them because I want them to become warm to the new event. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So if they've been to your first event, your second event, they're going to be hearing ads about your third event.
Correct.
Gotcha.
So there's 4 truly cold audiences: video views, website visits, engagement, and event responses. And the 5th one is retargeting all your past event goers to get them to become hot in this current one. And then what you do is you just, once they hit one of those, you have all your ads set up, right? So you have your cold ads set up. Once they hit one of those 5 audiences, they move into your retargeting ads and they get just hit constantly. I mean, they literally won't be able to pull their phone out without seeing you.
And the retargeting is where people make their decision up to 2 or 24 hours beforehand. That's where they say, oh my God, this event is so big. And that's more importantly, I think, if I'm understanding correctly, the retargeting is where you get that word of mouth. They're like, how could you not be hearing about this? I'm seeing it everywhere. You should definitely come. That provides like a level of confidence. So like, if you're not running like 90% of your budget to retargeting, you don't have a successful event ticket selling strategy. Is that fair to say?
I don't know if 90 is the number, but yes.
But that idea, right?
Yeah, that total idea. And what happens is you also, so you have to keep building that retargeting, and not just one retargeting ad. You need a photo retargeting ad, a video retargeting ad, an event response retargeting ad for those that haven't responded yet. You need to have 5 or 6 retargeting ads so they're seeing different things, and maybe even time it to where like these ads expire X days before your event and the new ads kick in, and then these ads might retire and then the new ads kick in. So you want to keep it fresh and energetic. And if they see it over, most people on events, they're going to buy the ticket based on, is the weather good that day? Is my wife going to let me out of the house that day? Am I going to get out of work early that day? So they literally sometimes don't want to save money buying an early bird ticket because they'd rather spend $10 more to have the flexibility to choose to come or go, right? So you just know that you have to stay in front of them. So on those last 2 days, they remember to buy your ticket, but you have to stay in front of them for the 2 to 3 weeks before, so they remember on the last 2 days.
So does that mean for an agency that's running Facebook ads for events, you just got to understand that up until 24 to 48 hours, your campaign is going to look like it's failing. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Like you're barely going to get any ticket sales. You're going to be like, oh my God, this is the worst thing in the world. Your client's going to freak out, but you got to pre-conquer that objection and prompt that response by saying, look, this is the plan. 90% of ticket sales or 80% are within 48 hours because people just aren't in a position to say, I'm willing to spend. Say again?
Yeah, they just won't commit.
They just won't commit. Yeah.
They'd rather pay more to have the freedom to choose than pay less and commit.
Is that why? So why do I see like early bird ticket sales and pre-sales to be somewhat successful? Is that because they discount so much? Or is that because they just have a different thoughts and feelings and ideas? Like,
so the whole idea of the early bird tickets is to get people to buy early. If you don't do a discounted early bird ticket, 0 people will buy early, right?
Gotcha.
And the other thing is it's worth giving that discount because now you don't have to pay to advertise to that person for the next 3 weeks. So you literally save that much money in advertising dollars by getting them to buy early. So your profit margin ends up being the same.
Interesting. I never thought of it like that, right? So let me ask you this. You're doing all of this work. How do you know how much to charge a client for this type of work? Like, do you do a flat rate? Is it percentage commission? Like, how does that relationship start when you're doing it for a client?
Well, interesting. So there's 3 ways to approach it. Partnership, to your own event, or pay just a flat rate, right? So with my New Year's Eve parties and block parties and things like that, I find that typically they're not going to pay me the big dollars. Like there's no way they're not going to do it for the hours and work that I come in and I tell them what they need to do to be successful. I actually partner with them on it. So for my New Year's Eve event, they pay for the production, I pay for the ads, and we come up with a number that we split the ticket sales.
Interesting.
And we're actually business partners on the event itself.
And that's very much like CEO and CMO type thing. Like there's a problem with production or events. Like I'm not handling that. I just bring people in. I'm just a promoter. I'm handling getting people in. Is that correct? Oh no, that's not the case at all.
I come in and I did that. I did what you just said the first year or 2. I did the promoting, the marketing, and sold tickets, and people came, they had a bad experience. They were mad at me.
Interesting.
So because they did, so now I do 100% on an event like that. I actually consult them through the whole process. You need, and I go, you need stages here, here, and here. This is how many people you need work in the door. This is what you need for this. I'll match them up. Here's a light guy. Here's a sound guy. Here's 5 DJs. So I'll help coordinate and put that all together. But and we work together on it. I'm consulting them on how to build this event. But they're paying for the production. They're paying for the staff. They're supplying the liquor. They're getting the liquor sponsors because that's who they're buying from. So I'm consulting them on what to do. They're paying for how to doing it. I pay for the ads. And then we split the ticket sales. And depending on the type of ticket, it's not necessarily 50-50. Obviously, if it's an open bar, they got to make their money on the liquor. If it's general admission, we split it 50-50. If you start adding free drinks and stuff in there, it's not quite 50-50, but you kind of get the idea. So that is option 1.
So let me ask you this. In that relationship, right? You are telling them what to do and they're putting up the money for the production and the staff. You already know the connections. You just don't want to fork out the $30K or whatever it is, right? for
Right.
the production. You're already forking out the money for the ads. How do you know how much to mentally prepare for an ad spend for an event that's bringing 1,000, 5,000, or 10,000 people?
I know I'm going to spend between 10 and 15K on ads for that.
Gotcha. And
And
that'll bring enough people into where you make money, cover your costs, and have a good time, right?
Yep. And it didn't start that way. I mean, the first year I spent $1,000. The next year I spent 3. The next year I spent 8. Then I spent 10. Last year I think I was at 15. So it's kind of relative, but I also know that if I'm pushing that event, I got to make sure that event is a good event, right?
Yeah.
And I can't leave it to them to make it. So it's a team. It's definitely a team thing. I can't do it without them. They can't do it without me. So we do it together, and it's a great partnership. So that's the one way to do it, and it's awesome. It's profitable for both me and them. The other reason why I started doing it that way is me paying for the ads, which most people think is crazy. If I had to call my client every day and say, I need this much more for ads, I need this much more for ads, and if I told them on the last day we're going to spend $5,000 a day, they'd be like, screw you. But so I said, let me just take that off their plate. We'll develop a higher percentage or a 50-50 partnership, and I'm going to manage the ads because I know what I need to do. When I'm watching the ads and seeing how they're reacting to me, I know how much more I need to drive into it to get the end result we need. If I have to call down the street and get approval if he approves it, by the time they approve it, it's too late and we've missed some of the boat. So I just know if I can just take having to get permission on ad spend off the table, I can make way more money.
That's why I include, I pay for my clients' ads, because I found myself having this uncomfortable conversation. Mr. Johnson, why are you only spending $10 a day on ads? Why aren't you spending $50 a day on ads? Then my campaign will work. Then you'll want to renew. That's a conversation you shouldn't have to have with your client. And that's exactly what I'm hearing from you, which is cool. So the first one is partnership, where you're telling them what to do. They're putting out the money for the production. You're putting out the money for the ticket sales, and you negotiate. It's usually not 50-50, but maybe 60-40, something like that. And everyone's having a good time. But there's 2 other ways, correct?
Yes. So the other way, which I've done many times too, which is actually how I started doing events, it's my event. I approach kind of like my birthday pub crawl, but a much bigger scale. I go to the venues, I negotiate the deal. I tell them I'm going to bring them all these people. I sell the tickets. I keep the money. The bar's happy. I have 200 people in their bar. So it's actually my event, and my investment, my time, my whatever. The bar is just opening their doors for us to come in and have this party.
That just seems so emotionally and socially more okay with me, saying I'm going to pay for the bar. Let's just say it's all day. I negotiate a thing. I know I've got that fixed cost, right? And I know I can run ads and sell tickets and at least make up that fixed cost. So when I'm going up to, let's just say I'm going up to a bar, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to South Miami, walk down the street, just where you and I got tacos at one time. And I'm going to go to the taco place, or no, that's a bad idea. I'm going to go to the bar next door, right? What is that conversation like? Hey, I want to rent out your whole thing on a Saturday night. Do I have to pay them extra? How does that conversation work when you have your bar supplier, right?
So you just lost all of your profit in what you just said.
Perfect. That's why I'm asking, right? Yeah.
I'd never pay for the bar.
Gotcha.
I get it free. The trick is, you got to find the right venue. It's got to be good for your customers and good for the bar, right? So the whole trick on whether it's a bar or a restaurant or whatever venue it is, you got to find out from them when they are not busy, and then promise them you're going to bring them all these people. They're stoked that what's usually an empty time slot or day of the week is now going to be full of people buying drinks. I'm happy because I get to keep the ticket sales at the door, and it's a win for the client in the bar and the whatever. So the whole idea is to solve their problem, right? They don't have a problem filling their bar at midnight on a Saturday, right? But they might be dead from 9 to 11. Let me do my party from 9 to 11. I'll charge $20 a pop to get in. Can you give them all 1 drink each free? And I'll bring you all these people at 11 p.m. They're like, sure, I can do that. Or 2 drinks free, whatever it is. Sometimes I'll get an hour free. Hey, can you do free from 9 to 10? And then they'll buy drinks from 10 to midnight. And then at midnight, when you open the doors to the public and all your normal people come in, the place is already packed. They're like, sweet, that's awesome. And that's usually how that rolls for that type of event, or if a pub crawl or whatever. But basically, you find You're solving their problem of filling a time slot that's empty.
Gotcha. So I would go up to a bar and say like, hey, this is going to sound super weird. My name is Jeff from down the street. I want to go to a party. When are you most empty? When do you desperately need people to come in? Because I don't want my tribe coming in on a Saturday night when you're already packed. How empty are you on like an 8 to 10 p.m. on a Saturday? There's nobody in here. Great. What if I brought in 30, 60 people? Would that move the needle for your business? Cool. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring in 30, 60 people, but I need you to do me a favor and either give everybody a free drink or just have open bar from 8 to 9. So that way people have a reason to do it. Are you okay with that?
Right.
Sure. Great. Fine. Perfect. And then I charge all my friends or run events or something like that, or just do Facebook ads and say, hey, we're doing a thingy. And it's between 8 to 10 and it costs you $15. And now people are coming in, spending money with the bar. They've bought a ticket. Everybody's jumping up and down. Is that the basics of it?
That's the basics. Yeah. And then, I mean, you can further pitch it to like, hey, yeah, you'll do open bar from 8 to 9. You know, everyone's going to show up late. So really there's only going to be people drinking from 8:30 to 9, but it's sexier if you tell them it's a full hour and really you're only giving drinks away for 30 minutes. You know how that works, Mr. Bar owner. No one's ever on time, right? And they're like, oh yeah, that's true. And you could even go a step further and say, hey, I have a liquor sponsor. If you have a relationship with a liquor or beverage sponsor and have them donate the liquor, then the bars have a harder time saying no as well.
And that's something that every single person here can just try to do, which I don't think it's really that hard. You can just try having that conversation. If it bombs, at least you tried. But if you got a yes, now you can set yourself up for success doing Facebook ads for your own events, and then use that as confidence to like approach and run events for other people, which is cool. And correct. You mentioned, by the way, the third thing, which is like a flat rate, but you really don't recommend that. Is that correct?
So it depends. So for instance, the people I do the New Year's Eve party with and some other big events with, sometimes they do events that they don't sell tickets to. Mm-hmm. So they're like, how do we pay you for this event? I come up with some sort of campaign. I put it together. These campaigns are much easier when it's a free event because you're not having to do the ticket sales. You just got to do you can kind of set it and forget it, really. So I usually have them pay me, and I kind of relate that more to what I would charge on a normal agency client for the month, right? Yeah. So I charge, whether it's $1,500 to $3,000, basically, depending on the size of the event. I would charge them like a standard, and that does not include ad spend. And you got to guide them because they won't know. I'll be like, hey, I need $2,000 from me and $1,000 for Facebook. So for $3,000, we can do this for you.
Gotcha.
And we just set it. But it's not, and they got to understand too, this isn't the same as me being a partner with you. I'm not going to be having meetings every day and consulting with you. And so this is just me running your ads and creating awareness and driving traffic type deal. So it's a little different.
So do those 3 strategies and what you've done, does that apply to like people that are doing like sporting events where they have like 1,000 people sign up to a marathon? Is that like the same idea, or is that a totally different scenario? Like running events for like sporting events and having like 1,000 runners, totally different rules than just doing events in like bars and restaurants and stuff like that.
I haven't done events for running or for sporting events. However, I actually take that back. I did do, this was a crazy story. I actually remember that big fight between McGregor and, oh man, what was the boxer's name? You remember it was like 2 years ago. It was when the mixed martial arts guy was fighting the boxer.
Oh yeah. The Irish dude. Yeah.
It was a big deal, and I can't remember his name right now. I know a lot of people watching this are gonna be like, "What do you mean you can't remember his name?"
Yeah.
So I had a bar, and they were charged the pay-per-view was charging the bar $5,000 just to show the fight. This bar had 10 locations. Mm-hmm. He's like, I have to spend $50,000 to show the fight at my bar. And he pulled me in for a meeting. He's like, Ross, can we do this? This is a place that's never charged a cover before. They're like a hamburger sports bar. He's like, we won't charge he goes, how do I recoup my $50,000? Can we do this? I'm like, we can do it. And I did, I actually did the same strategy I just told you. And we did $100,000 in sales for that night for his bar, where they typically on a Saturday, they probably would have done like $35,000. And we sold out every location, 200 people at each location, packed. They actually closed down ticket sales about 5 p.m. the day of the fight and said, we're done, we're closed.
So you can take a bar that is used to doing free stuff apply this line of thinking and people will buy a ticket. Correct?
Yes. Yeah, we
That's
did
so
it.
effing cool.
We did it 10 times.
That's so effing
And
cool.
he not only made the money back from the fight, he doubled his normal sales. So the ticket cover basically covered his cost of showing the fight. And then his sales were twice as much because he had 200 people at every bar. And not only had them there, he had them there for 4 hours.
Yep.
Just buying drinks. So yeah, their sales were through the roof. It was basically, it was at multiple locations, but I mean, it was $100,000 total where they never would have seen that much money in one night.
That's so cool. So is that part of like your secret ad strategy that you do? Like, because I mentioned the second bullet point, which you skipped, was like doing 200K in advanced ticket sales. Is it the same idea? Is that what you did at the New Year's Eve in Orlando? Or is that something completely different?
Okay, so my secret sauce strategy. We kind of touched on it a little bit already because they kind of merged together, right? My 5 audiences and my retargeting with the little sauce strategy. So remember how I said 80% of the ticket sales come in the last 2 days. 80% of your ad dollars should be spent in the last 2 days.
Gotcha.
So you have to scale your ads on the same curve that your ticket sales come in. So it's almost like you're slowly building up that momentum. It's bigger, it's bigger, it's bigger, and then wham. So if I have a $10,000 budget, I don't just divide 10,000 by 30 days and say, okay, we're spending this much per day. I do a little bit in the beginning and it grows, not necessarily daily, but you grow that ad spend until that last day. People are going to think you're crazy for the amount of money you're dumping in the last 2 days.
Yeah. Like $5,000 in 24 hours or something like that.
Yeah. So like if you're $10,000 budget for the month and for an event, you're usually running it for 4 to 6 weeks. And sometimes if it's a smaller event or a repetitive event that happens every month, you're better off spending that money in just 2 weeks before and saving those ad dollars and just cramming it into the last 2 weeks because that's when people are buying. But for an event that's a one-off or once a year, you got to build up the momentum, create the audiences, and do all that kind of stuff. So yeah, you just have to. That's kind of the secret sauce. Is you got to know, like at that end, you're gonna spend money on the last 2 days that make you uncomfortable.
That just get used to spending uncomfortable amount of money in the last 2 days of your ads. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be pretty darn cool because I'm going to be on the Modern Profits Cruise, which is on what date?
It is October 21st through the 25th. Yep.
So 21st through 25th, I'll be talking about how to run custom research so you know if your ads work before you launch them. I think you're going to be talking about how to run ads for events, I think. Steph is going to be there.
Yeah.
So, go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm actually going to do some goal setting and sales strategy as well.
Oh, very cool. Steph is going to be speaking. I think Andrew Cruzy is going to be speaking. There's like 20 people that are all going on this digital marketing cruise, which is really, really cool. And I'm super psyched to be there. It's modernprofitscruise.com. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Fantastic. Very, very cool. I think that there's like a couple questions in here that I think we want to go over before we bring this sucker to a close.
Okay.
But you're okay with doing like a couple 15-minute strategy sessions in case people want to take like a next step with you, have a question about events, stuff like that. You're okay with that, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, very cool. So everybody watching, for ladies and gents that are still on the call, if you want to have a follow-on 15-minute session with Ross to talk about how to run events, how to charge for events, which are the 3 strategies you should be doing. If you want 15 minutes of his time and his schedule, just hashtag RossMyFace, and I'll send you a PM introducing you. You guys have 15 minutes to review ads, to have conversations with, to pick his brain and just see if you can run events and do it successfully and make an F ton of money, which is really darn cool. Steven Aquino, who actually runs ads for sporting events in Dallas, right?
Oh, cool.
Says most events use a standard cart. Oh, wait, no. He was replying to somebody. Never mind. Okay. Kara says, is there a reason why you would prefer to link to Eventbrite rather than using your own cart?
Yes. And actually a very good question because a lot of people are like, why don't you just use your own cart? So it depends on the scale of the event, right? So when you're talking 10,000 people, just Eventbrite, the ability to scan their tickets on their apps is huge. It's works super efficiently. I can have all my doorstep username as to certain features that I choose them to have access to, which that's huge because I don't want strangers having access to the whole system, but I can say, hey, they only have access to scanned tickets, period. That's it. So that's really big. The efficiency, the name brand, people trust it. They're not worried about putting their money in Eventbrite. So they trust that. B, the reporting that they give you on the back end with their charts, their graphs, the app that they use that they have a business app you can download on their phone that I can actually look at daily and see the trend of how my tickets are selling, what's going on. I can edit people's names on the phone. If you get a thing that says, hey, I never see my ticket, I can resend them their ticket. I can add people. They have a lot of features I can do on the phone while I'm on the go, or I can correct it even live at the event. Like if there's a problem, hey, this ticket's bugging up, I can literally go on that app and edit it, fix it, boom, be flowing right again in like a minute. So that's why I use it. Other companies, I've looked at doing it myself. I actually set up my website to do ticketing myself, and it didn't save me but like 50 cents a ticket, and the features were not near as powerful as Eventbrite. I just can't compete with Eventbrite. With the money they have in this app, it's incredible. And then the fourth reason, or fifth, I forgot, we're counting now. Eventbrite will actually market your event for you. So if you start to get a lot of traction and your event is popular in your area, Eventbrite has their own email list, and they'll blast those people for you. And I found I pick up an extra 10 or 20% of my tickets, right, which saves you money on ad cost.
That's absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So your suggestion is always just to do like an Eventbrite and not like dick around with trying to do your own cart, right?
Not always. Most on a consumer event, typically, yes. If it's a conference or an event like that where it's more business and people can check in and pick up badges, then you could do your own cart. Like for my cruise, for instance, I did my own cart for the cruise. It's not as many people. We're talking about a smaller crowd. It's more professional. We actually can do a guest list and really treat people one-on-one. Yep. And that space, I like to do my own cart. But when you're talking masses and consumers, versus business and conferences, I prefer to use Eventbrite.
Well, tell you what, on that note, I was hoping you could talk to me more about Modern Profits Cruise, because all I know about it is that I'm presenting, you're presenting. So I typed in Modern Profits Cruise, like it's on my other screen. And there's like there's 14 speakers, right? Josh Forti, McKinsey, JR, Steph, Cody Neer, Rachel Lee. Like there's a really effing cool thing going on here. Could you tell the audience about it? Because I still think it's a really, really cool opportunity, and you still have like a couple slots left, right?
Yeah, so we do. One thing that's really cool, I actually have been doing a Modern Profits networking party in Orlando every month, I think for the last 6 months, where I bring in a new guest speaker every month and I introduce them. And I'll tell you what's been really cool about that is by speaking on stage there, I got someone approached me that was at my event that owns a magazine, and they asked me if I'd be on the cover of their magazine. I've had clients reach, like now when I walk in a room sometimes to other networking events, like, oh my God, you were a guy on the magazine, or you're the guy that I saw on that stage. Here's my card. I want to talk to you. Like I've had this start happening, and it made me realize the power of being on stage and recognized as an expert in your niche, or even just having photos and leveraging this on Facebook. I literally have people now call me after seeing me on posting pictures of me speaking on stage. They'll message me and say, hey, how much can I talk to you for like an hour? What would you charge me? Instead of like, can I pick your brain? They're like, can I give you $200 to talk to you? I'm like, sure, I'll talk to you for $200. Or they just appreciate your time. Hey, I know you're really busy, but can I have 15? So I've noticed this shift since I started speaking on stage. And that reason why I bring that up is because anyone, I think I have 4 slots left for this particular thing, but I added something to the cruise called Taking the Stage. I wanted to give everyone that comes on this cruise an opportunity to have that experience. So I'm basically giving anyone that books, so any of your people out there that want to book and come on the cruise, they will get 5 minutes to speak on stage on whatever their topic is. We're going to professionally record it and get professional photographs and give that to them as a free bonus for coming on the cruise that they can then leverage through their social media content and whatever to position themselves as an expert in their niche as a public speaker on the Modern Profits Cruise with all these other amazing speakers on a Royal Caribbean ship, so they really can leverage it. So I just wanted to touch base on that, the importance of speaking in front of people live and being able to leverage that social media to increase your level. Does that sound cool?
I tell you what, when you speak on stage and you've got a recording of it, nobody questions whether or not you're good enough, right? You're no longer like a fly-by-night singer. They're like, oh, that looks fine. Let's talk, right? It happens all the time.
It totally. And like I said, I've noticed this. I started like 6 months ago doing these monthly events, completely changed the way people look at you. And I didn't expect that. That wasn't my goal of it. But when I realized it, I'm like, how do I give this to my people that are coming on the cruise? And that's what I decided to do. So when we look at this cruise as a whole and why I decided to do it, I started going to things like Funnel Hacking Live and AdCon and these other conferences, and I love the knowledge that I got and the experience of going to these things live. And then I also, I'm pretty outgoing and social and used to that stuff, and I would meet all these people. But I know not everyone quite gets the opportunity. My friends started asking me, well, Ross, how do you know these people? I've been following them on Facebook. I'm like, well, I'm friends with them. How are you friends with them? Well, I don't know. I met them because I just went and talked to them. So I'm like, oh, how do I bring that experience to all these other people who don't have that same opportunity? And I'm like, a cruise ship, right? So the whole goal is I'm bringing you 12, 14 amazing top-notch speakers that you don't just get to watch on stage for 45 minutes and then poof, they're gone. That's it, in the relationship. You get to spend 4 days and nights with them by the pool, in cabanas, on sailboats, hanging out. You get to have dinner with them, really get to know them as people and not just business card exchanging or fan kind of, looking at. So you really get to bring everyone into your world and the other entrepreneurs that are on board. So what I've done is basically combined over the 4 days, we're going to have the first 3 days, we're going to have about 3 to 4 hours of mastermind time where you actually get speaker sessions speaking to you. But every night at dinner, I have 2 different speakers at each dinner table. And every night you get to sit down at a different dinner table and have dinner with different speakers of your choice. So you really get to kind of hang out and break bread with them and have wine and like literally chit chat, mastermind over dinner. Then we have every night we have a networking party. So after dinner, we'll go to a different lounge on the boat. We'll share cocktails. We'll shoot the shit. We'll get to know each other. Again, building those relationships, right? On day 2, we're actually going to be on the island of Coco Cay. They have a $250 million renovation they just did. It's unbelievable. I went back in May, and it has this huge lagoon with this swim-up bar and this beautiful beach. It's amazing. I have rented cabanas for us. So our speakers are going to be spread out over these cabanas. And we have the cabanas from like 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. So we have them all day. I'm going to designate like a 2-hour time slot where all the speakers will be there. And you can just come sit in the cabana, have a mimosa, and pick the brains of all these speakers while you're on this beautiful island. So we're adding that as a feature. We have an upgraded opportunity to when we're in the island of Nassau. I just got one of the excursions to only offer this to people in our group. So it's going to be a private sailboat and snorkel experience on a beautiful catamaran sailboat where we all can basically go spend 4 hours out sailboating and snorkeling together, which is going to be amazing. So we take that. We got, basically you got beach and island time and cabanas and sailboating, 4-hour mastermind every time. You got dinner with speakers every night. You got networking parties every night. On the final days and the reason why I set up this way is I didn't want people going on a cruise and not see the islands. I'm like, I want them to have this experience. So the last day is our day at sea. They don't actually visit an island. That day we're going to have a full day mastermind, 6 a.m. to, or not 6 a.m. Have that backwards, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Full day mastermind on the last day. So basically you're getting 3 half-day masterminds, 1 full day mastermind. You get a sailboat and snorkel excursion with everybody. You get to be in cabanas on a beautiful beach with all the speakers. You get to have dinner with different speakers every night. You get networking parties every night. And it creates this whole experience. When you get off this boat, you're going to be best friends with everybody. It's a great opportunity to meet all these people, get some great social media content and photos and videos for yourself. It's really going to be a cool opportunity. And by doing it on a cruise, I knew I could do it for about 1/3 of the price of going to any other conference out there.
Yep.
So that was the other thing.
That's modernprofitscruise.com, and that's October 21st to the 25th, right?
Yep.
Fantastic. I'll tell you what.
And anyone that books, I think it said I had 4 slots left for the taking the stage. So the next 4 people that book actually get to speak on stage, get a video and professional photos of them speaking on the cruise.
Fantastic. Well, I'll tell you what, if you want more information, send Ross a PM and he'll make sure you're taken care of. So we're going to bring this sucker to a close. Absolutely fantastic. Ross, it's been an absolute pleasure. I had no idea you went from $0 to $4 million selling shampoo. I had no idea you had 2 New Year's Eve events where you had 15,000 people. And I had no idea that you're supposed to spend about 80% of your event's budget in the last 24 to 48 hours. It's been really effing cool. It's been an absolute pleasure. We're going to bring the sucker to a close. Don't hang up, though. Just kind of like wave by as the camera brings it to an end, right? So everybody, that's it. Thanks so much. See you later.